Hi, my name is Shannon Deckert, and I'm going to walk you through the Assure model for my copyright assignment. How will the students demonstrate their knowledge of copyright skills? So, after the students are given the presentation on copyright laws and fair use, they will have time to explore the education guide on copyright and fair use. This just gives them a great way to see specific examples of how they can use different mediums without infringing on copyright laws. Then the students will be able to choose from one of the following copyright scandals that they want to research. So they can choose between Katy Perry versus Marcus Gray, Apple versus Microsoft, Gucci versus Guess, or Star Wars versus Battlestar Galactica. The students are going to be researching one of these topics, using approved kid-friendly search engines. And they will create a slideshow, making sure that they are following fair use and copyright laws to present their findings and share which side of the case they agree with. Students must have a works cited page, and I know this is 5th grade, so the works cited page should just have website links so that we can look at the amount of information that they took from the website to make sure that they are following copyright laws. The A in the Assure model is for analyze learners. So as the educator, we need to be aware of the characteristics of the learners and how these characteristics will affect their learning outcomes. So Miss Stewart's students are in 5th grade in the Woodlands, Texas, which is a pretty fluent area with a lot of familial support. Their knowledge of copyright laws is pretty limited, but having big names such as Katy Perry, Star Wars, or Apple will hopefully help encourage motivation in the students to learn. Students will have to use the knowledge that you may not just copy information from the internet, that you need to paraphrase what you've learned and have a works cited page on their slideshow. Since these students are only in 5th grade, I'm not expecting them to have beautiful APA format or anything, but I do want them to start being able to prove where they found their information. And the third thing is that Miss Stewart has a diverse group of learners. So 2 of the students in her classroom have 504s for ADHD and will need reminders to stay on task and need the assignments chunked. So for example, instead of just giving them free time to research, create their slideshow, and work on their presentation all at once, I will just explain parts of the presentation or of the assignment to them and chunk it into smaller groups so they don't feel overwhelmed. And then 3 of the learners in her classroom are ESL students who would benefit from vocabulary being taught before the lesson begins. So these copyright terms, before I am even presenting to the class, I really want to go over some vital vocabulary so that they feel more comfortable using copyright laws. I have pulled standards from the 5th grade TEKS and also from the Texas School Library Standards. So the 5th grade TEK is in digital citizenship, and the student practices safe, responsible, legal, and ethical behavior while using digital tools and resources. The student is expected to abide by copyright law and the fair use guidelines for educational multimedia and comply with fair use guidelines and digital safety rules. Under the library area, the library encourages students to use digital intellectual property responsibly, understand current copyright rules, make responsible online decisions, understand the significance of digital identity, and use positive citizenship practices. The next step is to select strategies and resources. So the strategy starts off with teacher-led presentation and then really focuses in on a student-centered. So the students will be able to choose their own topic, which really encourages motivation. They're able to research using approved websites, but they can research on different websites. And the students will be using iPads or Chromebooks to research and then create a slideshow on Google Slides. Some of the resources that they will need access to would be iPads and Chromebook, so that they can find the materials that they need. The next step is utilizing resources. So first, we'll preview the resources, and I will make sure that the technology resources are charged and ready for student research and to design a slideshow. I'll prepare the resources by providing the students with search engines such as Kiddle, KidSearch, or Kidtopia that are appropriate for children's use. And the students will be using Google Slides, which they're very familiar with. Next thing is I'll prepare the environment. So in the library, there are lots of flexible seating choices. There will be areas in the library that students can sit close to each other if they are interested in collaborating, or there'll be individual areas so that students can work independently and have a more quiet area to themselves. Just giving them the choice helps them to be successful. The next thing I'll do is prepare the learners. So the students will be prepared for this lesson from the copyright presentation. They will be introduced to the following copyright cases that I discussed earlier. So they'll have a little bit of background about them, but I just think these big names like Gucci or Star Wars or Apple or Katy Perry are going to really encourage them to find good information about these. And then I'll provide the learning experience. So then the students are ready to use the technology resources to complete the research about their chosen copyright case. All right, so let's talk about require learner participation. So once the students have started to research about one of the chosen copyright scandals and taken a stance, they will find a partner to present their slideshow to. So I really want the students to work on their own for a little bit and then collaborate with a partner. So their partner will provide feedback about the information in their presentation. I like to use a compliment sandwich when I have my students providing feedback. So first they'll say one thing that they thought was great either in their slideshow or presentation. Then they'll say one thing that they can improve upon. And then they'll sandwich it in with one more great thing that they did. This way, students are feeling motivated and they're happy to share the information. If somebody's just constantly giving you negative feedback, that's not somebody that you're going to want to share with. After they've gotten feedback from their partner, the students will go back and edit their slideshow using their partner's feedback. Okay, so the last step is to evaluate and revisit. So, did the students achieve the learning objectives? So, in this assignment, the learning objective said that, the learning objective said that they abide by copyright law and fair use guidelines for educational multimedia. So, if I look at my rubric here, it talks about following copyright laws and fair use. So, an important part is the students followed the copyright laws and fair use by not directly copying information found on the websites they used. Also, their rubric talks about having a works cited, which has the websites that they use. So I think that if the student is able to create a presentation without directly copying and having a works cited, then yes, they did achieve the learning objective. The next question is, what was the impact of using technology? I feel like technology for this assignment is vital. The students would not be able to do the most up-to-date research if they were only using books. So I think that it's really important that they use technology, especially for the research side. Maybe the slideshow they could not use technology for. They could do some type of presentation or maybe make a booklet instead of a slideshow to present. But since they are presenting this to their peers at the end, I think it's good that it's a slideshow so that the students can have a visual as they're talking about their thoughts on the court cases. And then, did the learning objective match the student outcomes? This one, I feel like the student is matching the learning objective to the learning objectives do match the student outcomes because the project is directly related to copyright laws and making sure that the students are practicing doing these things. So they have to be able to research online and be exposed to different websites and then use that information if they want to practice abiding by the copyright laws. If we never give our students a chance to practice this, then how will they know how to be successful at it? All right, and then let's just take one quick look at the student rubric. So I have 5 different criterias that they're graded on. So they're research. So the student used at least 2 approved research websites to research about the copyright case that they're choosing. The slideshow, the student creates a thorough slideshow about a copyright case that shares information, and they must choose a side. The presentation, so the student is excited to present their information and share their point of view on the copyright case. And then I already talked about the works cited and following the copyright laws. As you can see, this is a majority of their grade because this is what the whole point of this assignment is about.